Hey, everybody, welcome back to another Freight Broker Bootcamp Live. Thank you for joining me. If you're catching this on replay, thank you. Thank you. I know your time is valuable and you're busy. Replay is a great way to catch this as well. So if you are catching this on replay, make sure you hit me up in the comments below, #replay. I got to hear from my replay people. I love to hear from the replay people. So guys, today, just really quick, the topic we're going to talk about today is a super important one. It's something I haven't covered before. And I'm going to talk about why do some people fail in business while others succeed? What's the difference? Now, there are a lot of reasons, but I'm going to point out to something that I don't think you've probably ever really thought about. And if you have thought about it, you probably haven't thought about it this way. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. That's what I'm going to fill in the blank. So while we're doing this, waiting for a bunch of people to get live here, excuse me, what I want you to do, hit me up in the chat box. Let me know the city and state that you're logging in from, okay? Let me know the city and state you're logging in from. I'm going to give you some shout outs. I'm from the Buffalo, New York area, born and bred and raised in Western New York my whole life. I have a family here. I have lived, and I've lived here way too long to even tell you the number of years. But I do want to thank you for joining me. And again, we are going to go over something really important today. So the agenda is as follows. I'm going to go over the topic. We're going to talk about why do some people succeed while others fail. Then we're going to do a giveaway, right? We're going to give away a shirt today, another Freightpreneur shirt. We're going to give away another Freightpreneur shirt. And then the third part is we're going to do live Q&A. So hang with me. If you got questions, hang with me to the end. I will try to answer everybody's question, time allotted, okay? So that's where we're at. Let's do some shout outs real quick. So we got Paul Spates from Frisco, Texas, as always, welcome. Nelson Sanchez from Winter Haven, Florida, welcome. Wiley from Chico, Georgia. Joe Queen, welcome. Miguel from Elizabeth, New Jersey. Excuse me. We got Ill Will, the drummer from Huntsville, Alabama. We got Dimitru from Europe. Welcome. All right. So we got Europe in the house, which is awesome. We got Sean Pettis from Springs, Texas, Sulphur Springs, Texas. Patricia, welcome. Chris Fruling from Cincinnati, Ohio. We got Tanisha from Houston, Texas. Lots of Texas in the house, as usual. We got Daniel from Homestead, Florida. We got Mr. Big 49er. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that. From Charlotte, North Carolina. Tej Sethi from Toronto, Canada. So now we got 3 countries, US, Canada, and Europe already. That's awesome. We got Raymond. Oh, geez. We scrolled way down here. Let's see. We got Raymond Case from Pasadena, California. Patricia from Baltimore, Maryland. Fausto from Rio Rancho, New Mexico. JT Tao from Sacramento, California. Joe Quinn is from Brownsville, Texas. More Texas in the house. Sherelle from Hampton, Georgia. Mo Knows Best from Houston, Texas. Shanquin Wiley from Lakeland, Florida. Eric Val from Santa Clarita, California. Sherry from Reddick, Illinois. John from Killingbeck, New Jersey. Elio Longorio from Houston. Welcome, Elio. Helen Randolph from Leesburg, Virginia. KTV Freight from Fort Worth, Texas. Man, we got a lot of people joining me live here. So listen, here's what I want to do really quick. For those of you that are just joining me now, the topic we are going to talk about today is why do some people succeed in business while other people fail? We're going to talk about something unique that you probably never thought about before. At least maybe you didn't think about it this specific way. But before we do that, I want to do the giveaway. Okay. Who here wants a shirt? Who here wants a free shirt? So I'm going to give away one of these free shirts like I have many times in the past. It says Freightpreneur, solving problems you don't know you have in ways you can't understand. Okay. So I'm going to give away one of these shirts. Now listen carefully. All you have to do to qualify, right, for this drawing is this. Very simple. Number one, you need to be in the United States. Okay. I don't ship to Europe. I'm sorry. I can't ship international. It just doesn't make sense to spend $30 or $50 shipping something that is worth $20, right? I just can't get myself to do it. Call me cheap. But ultimately, if you're in the US, you can qualify for this contest. And here's all you got to do. One of two things. If you are on Facebook Tag 3 of your friends in the comment. 3 people that you think might be interested in this or will at least watch this video. We're trying to create awareness about these free Freight Broker Bootcamp lives that I do every Monday at noon. Okay. So tag 3 people and I will see that you tag them in the comments. Okay. And if you're on YouTube or on Facebook, you can also click the share button and share the stream. Share it on your social, share it on Facebook, share it on Twitter, share it on Instagram, share it on LinkedIn, share it to a few people on via email. I don't care how you share it, but share it. And just know this is an honor system. So once you do that, come back in here into the comments and type in hashtag shared. Hashtag shared. What that's going to do is that's going to let me know that you're going to be a part of the drawing. And then after the training, after we go through this concept, all right, after I talk about this for 10 or 15 minutes, we're going to do the drawing and then we're going to go into the Q&A. Okay. So hold your questions until the end. Any questions that come up along the way, make sure you jot them down so you don't forget them, because I do that all the time. I've got this great question. I've got this great idea. And then I forget to jot it down and then I lose it. Right. Has that ever happened to you? I'm sure it has. Okay. So quick intro really quick. Before we do that, while you guys are doing the sharing and tagging to qualify for the contest, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Dennis Brown. I've been an entrepreneur for over 25 years, been very blessed, built 3 multi-million-dollar companies in my career. One of the last companies I built was a freight brokerage, a third-party logistics company. Started that company in 2003, went on to grow it, did over $200 million in sales as a freight broker, ended up selling that company, but I'm also the owner of FreightBrokerBootcamp.com, which is the most cost-effective and comprehensive online freight broker and freight agent training program available online today. We offer a 60-day, 100% money-back guarantee. So if you're curious, if you're new and you're curious about how to become a freight broker or freight agent, how to quit your job, how to start making money from home, how to earn 6 figures as a freight broker or freight agent, check out FreightBrokerBootcamp.com. We've trained over 8,000 students. I need to update that because it's probably 10,000 by now. I just haven't run the numbers. So we've trained over 8,000 students. And again, we've been in business with Freight Broker Bootcamp for over a decade. Okay. So now let's get to the draw. Let's get to the contest. But before we do that, or let's get to the topic. But before we do that, what I need you to do is tag 3 people. If you're on Facebook, tag them. Just put them in the comments. You know how to do them, do the @ symbol and then their name, and then you'll be able to tag them. Or you can just hit share and you can share the stream on your Facebook feed or wherever you want to do it. If you're on YouTube, share it somewhere and then come back in and hit hashtag shared. Now, I'm hoping I don't have a sneezing fit because I went to the doctor this morning. I had my annual physical. Well, not annual. I hadn't been there in a couple of years because of COVID, but went and had my physical, and on the way back, I'm driving and I almost crashed my truck because I had a sneezing attack and I literally must have sneezed 12 times in a row. No exaggeration. My wife would testify whenever I go on some sneezing binge, it's trouble, right? So if I do have a sneezing, attack because of all the pollen and craziness, then I apologize. I'm going to do my best to hold it back. All right. So let me grab a quick drink and then we're going to dive into the topic. Hopefully you guys, who wants this shirt? I get people emailing me and texting me and Facebook messaging me, say, can I have a shirt? Where can I buy the shirt? I don't sell these shirts. I just give them away. Right. So I give them away from time to time, usually a few every month, usually during these lives or maybe on YouTube or something like that. And again, it says Freightpreneur, someone that solves problems you don't know you have in ways you can't understand. So it's a very popular. I wear it from time to time. It's just kind of a cool shirt to do on my live. So, all right. So who's ready to go? You guys ready? All right. So listen, today I'm going to share with you my opinion and my thoughts and my observations on why some people in business fail, why some people, let me start that again. I'm going to share with you why some people in business succeed while others fail. Okay. Why do some people that start a business succeed while others fail? Now, there's a lot of reasons, and I said this during the intro, there's a lot of reasons why people succeed and fail. There are a lot of variables and a lot of factors that go into that. There are skills and luck and timing and planning and all these different things, right? Goals and desire. And we're going to talk about a lot of these things today. But here's what I want to ask you, right? Just answer this in your mind. How many of you want to be rich? Okay. How many of you want to be wealthy? A lot of people that join my Freight Broker Bootcamp online training program want to have a successful business that's earning them over $100,000 per year from home. A lot of them have that desire, right? That's their desire. They want to be wealthy. They want to be rich. Some people want to be famous, right? Some people want to be popular. Some people want to be rich. A lot of people want to be rich. That's the reason why the lottery is so popular, right? But I want to talk a little bit about the difference between desire and ambition. Okay? So you need to understand this. There's a couple concepts we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the difference between desire and ambition. Desire is when you have this almost like just basic need and urge, and you want something. You want to be wealthy, right? You want to be famous. You have this strong desire for something. Sometimes it's a person, right? Sometimes it's a thing. You have this desire. It's primal, okay? And so you have this desire. Now, the difference between desire and ambition is more along the lines of when you take that desire and you create a real plan and you take action towards getting that desire, whatever that is, or achieving that goal or whatever that desire is, okay? So there are a lot of people who have desire, but not nearly as many people that have ambition, okay? So you see the difference here? One is very primal, which is important. You have to have desire before you have ambition. But you need to take desire and you need to convert it into ambition. And that's where you take action, you create a plan, and you take real steps to achieve and attain whatever it is you desire. Now, if you want to be rich, then there are certain steps you have to take. If you want to have a successful business, there's certain steps you have to take. If you want to earn 6 figures per year, there's certain steps you have to take. So it involves a plan and action. Okay, so it's really important that you understand and distinguish between those two. I can tell you there's a lot of people that have enrolled in my course that had great desire. They desired to be able to earn 6 figures. They desired to be rich. They desired to be able to quit their job. But their ambition did not match their desire. So what they didn't do is they didn't take that desire and turn it into real, meaningful action that allowed them to convert, to eventually achieve that desire, right? Or to attain that desire. Now, I'm not trying to get real esoteric or woo-woo with you. I just want you to understand there is a difference between desire and ambition, okay? There is definitely, and they have to match. If you've got a lot of desire and not a lot of ambition, it's going to be very hard to achieve anything meaningful. All right. So I relate this back. I listened to a book recently. What the hell was the book called? By James Clear. Anyway, totally blanked on the title here, but that's okay. And it talked about the difference between goals and execution. So I see a lot of people who set goals, right? They set a goal and it's I want to make 6 figures. Okay. I want to make 6 figures as a business owner. But what happens is that goal just sits there on the mantle and they never actually take any meaningful action. So what I mean by that is if you want to earn 6 figures, there's certain things you have to do. You have to learn more skills. You have to put together a plan, right? You have to, set goals and milestones. There are a lot of things you need to do in order to actually achieve that. And it all comes down to execution. So it goes back to that old thing. A goal without a plan is just a dream, right? You've probably heard that before. You have a lot of people who daydream about desires and things that they want, but many of them will not take action. So the important thing that you guys have to understand is that you can sit here and listen to me on YouTube or Facebook or through my podcast or through my blog or through wherever. And if it inspires you to have goals, that's great. But ultimately, all that inspiration in the world isn't going to do any good for you or for your family or for anybody to achieve those goals without action. You've got to take action. That's just all there is to it. You have to take action. You have to learn new skills. You've got to find a mentor. You've got to develop a plan. You have to make mistakes. You've got to learn. You've got to grow. You've got to expand beyond where you are today. If you want to get more than you have today, you got to become more. And that's part of the process of becoming a successful entrepreneur. And whether you're a freight broker or a freight agent, it's all the same. So I hope that makes sense. I want you to understand it's really important that you understand the difference between desire and ambition and goals and execution. Desire without ambition is a no-win deal. Goals without execution, you're going nowhere fast. So take that, apply that to your business, apply that to your life, apply that to your plan of launching and starting and growing a successful freight broker, freight agent business, and I guarantee you'll get further faster. Okay, so I hope that helped. Now, for those of you that are curious, again, about becoming a freight broker or freight agent, check out freightbrokerbootcamp.com. Most cost-effective, comprehensive online freight broker training program available online today. I'm not afraid to say it. My free content has 10 times the value compared to what most training courses have. So check out freightbrokerbootcamp.com. We offer a 60-day, 100% money-back guarantee. Okay? So enjoy that. Check it out. All right. So now, guys, I'm going to grab a quick drink. I didn't sneeze, which is awesome, but I can't promise that that's not going to happen during the giveaway, during the Q&A. So I'm going to do the giveaway right now in about 1 minute. So if you want an opportunity, you joined late and you want a chance to win this shirt, not this one because it's probably a little sweaty, but I'll give you a new one. Freightpreneur, someone who solves problems you don't know you have in ways you can't understand. All you have to do, tag 3 people if you're on Facebook, or you can share the stream on Facebook. Either one is fine. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you click the share button and share the stream. You can share it on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. I don't care where you share it, just share it. And then come back in here and in the comments, I want you to type hashtag shared. Hashtag shared. That's going to tell me that you shared it. And I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to scroll up through the content, through the feed, and I'm going to randomly pick somebody just like I always do. Okay. So make sure you do that. Make sure you share the stream and then come back in and let me know you shared it, and I will hopefully pick you as the winner. So I'm going to give it 1 minute as I grab a drink and I talk myself down from having a sneeze attack. All right, so we got more people. Yeah, and while you're here, make sure you like the stream. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, hit like that. Here's what it does for me. I do these trainings every week for free. You didn't see a paywall. I didn't charge you to get in here. Okay. I do this for free. The way I determine whether I'm going to continue to do this, I look at the engagement level. Look at the number of likes, comments, shares, views on a month-by-month basis. And if I see them going down, then I debate on whether I'm going to continue to do these free trainings. But if I see the numbers continuing to go up, which they have been as of late, then at that point, it's a no-brainer, right? I'm going to show up every week and give you my best. So make sure, like, comment, share, regardless of whether you want to be a part of the contest. All right, guys, so here we go. I'm going to pick a winner of the shirt. So I'm going to scroll through. I'm going to close my eyes. Let me see. What do we got? Oh, we got a bunch of people. Okay. So I'm going to scroll through and I'm going to close my eyes. Let me just make sure I'm in the window here. Okay, great. All right, ready? The winner is, nope. There it is. Tiffany Mitchell. Tiffany Mitchell, you are the winner of the Freightpreneur shirt. Someone who solves problems you don't know you have in ways you can't understand. Here's all I need you to do, Tiffany, in order for you to collect and get your shirt. I need you to go to the Freight Broker Bootcamp Facebook page. Go to the Facebook page, Freight Broker Bootcamp, and send me a message with your name, your full mailing address, your phone number, and your size. I only need the phone number because of the delivery, okay? I'm not going to call you, don't worry. But ultimately, name, address, phone number, and your size. And what I'll do is in the next week, I'll get it shipped out to you. It usually takes a week or two for delivery because, again, they got to process the order and get it out. But you'll get it in the next couple of weeks. And then all you have to do is just put the shirt on, take a picture of you in the shirt, and then send it to me. That would be great. I'd love to see that. I'd love to share it with the audience. Thank you, everybody, for playing along. Don't disappear because we're going to do Q&A. Okay, we're going to do live Q&A. But I want to thank everybody for playing along, everybody who did share. Again, I don't pick the winners. I just randomly go through and then hit the share and boom, and all of a sudden somebody's name pops up. Okay, so this week's winner is Tiffany Mitchell. Thank you so much for playing. Congratulations on winning. And I change the prizes up a lot of time from week to week. Sometimes I give away cash. Sometimes I give away books. I've given away a bunch of these books. I've given away a lot of these books, How to Win Friends and Influence People. This is one of my favorite books of all time. It has so many great lessons in here. If you haven't had a chance to win it, just go buy it. I promise you it's like 10 or 15 bucks. This is the foundation principles of being a successful entrepreneur and salesperson regardless, but I do give these away as well as other things. So, all right, listen, I want to thank you guys. Let's do some Q&A. So who's got some questions for me? First, what time is it? All right, 12:22. All right, so boom, boom, boom. Okay, so who's got questions? Helen, is there an audio? I'm not sure about the audio. I'm not sure what you mean. Is there an audio and what, dear? Please clarify. So who's got questions? Hit me up in the comments with questions, and I'm going to do Q&A now. And then I'll get to as many questions as I can, and then we'll close it out, and I'll be back next week for more. All right, so here's a question. All right, so here's a question from Miguel. What do you think about all the new digital freight brokers, and what is it going to do to us? Miguel, all right, so I get this question all the time. Let me clarify. When I started in the industry in 2003, okay? And when I came into the industry, there were a lot of big companies out there, competitors like C.H. Robinson and all kinds of other ones, right? Landstar and all these big companies. And they had billions of dollars and lots of resources and lots of technology and lots of advantages over me. But yet, I went on to do $1 million my first year, $3 million my second year, $6 million my third year, $12 million, 18. You know the story. Went on to 80 million, did over $200 million in sales. Now, many people back then told me that I was crazy and that there was no way I could compete with these big companies. You're crazy if you think you can compete with them. They have too much money and you don't know what you're doing. Well, guess what? They were wrong. So let me give you the parallel with these new digital freight brokers. I'm going to be honest with you. It doesn't worry me a bit. It doesn't worry me a bit. And I don't think it should worry you, because the difference between a digital freight broker and you is just a little bit of technology. And here's the cool part. The technology is accessible, meaning the transportation management systems, the software and the load boards and all the technology that's available today that digital freight brokers have, you can pretty much buy inside of a TMS, right? Or inside of different load boards and with different rating tools. So the playing field has leveled out dramatically. When I started in 2003, technology sucked. That's the reason why I went on to invest over $1 million of my own money into building software, because technology sucked back then. Since then, technology has evolved rapidly. There are so many transportation management software and load boards and APIs and integrations and rating tools and all these different things that make every broker a digital freight broker, that it's really not an issue. Here's what's going to happen. And here's what's proven so far. Number one, none of them are making money at any scale. Uber, bleeding and hemorrhaging money. Amazon, bleeding and hemorrhaging money in their freight division. Okay. So none of them have even proven that they can sustain the model. First of all, they're losing a ton of money. Number two, what's happened is this. They said 5 years ago that they were going to, by now, get rid of brokers. And what's happened? The adoption has been very slow. And here's why. Because shippers don't want digital. They want personal. Do you think a shipper wants to trust a $100,000 load or a $500,000 piece of equipment to some digital process? No, it's based on relationships. So while digital is going to continue to be a part of the landscape, and while you as a new broker or an established broker have to continue to evolve your process, meaning if you're still operating on a napkin and an Excel spreadsheet is high tech for you, you're probably going to struggle. But if you're using a modern TMS and you have a modern approach to sales, and you target and you niche down and you find a real niche and you're not just a generalist, there's always going to be a space for you. There's going to be a space for you, I promise. They're not getting rid of brokers. That was just a big ploy that they used to try to raise a bunch of money so they can go out and try to prove their model. And I don't care if any of them are listening to this, feel free to call me. We can debate the issue, okay? But I promise you, I've watched the industry very closely over the last 18 years, been involved since 2003. And while digital brokers, appear to be this doom and gloom component of the industry, it's really not. Best case scenario, they're going to prove they can profitably grow a business, which means they're going to have to drive their rates up because their cost of acquiring a customer is still very high. They're going to have to drive their rates up, and ultimately their rates are going to be in parity with any other big broker. And if they succeed at that long term, all they will become is a big broker. Here's the cool part. The industry is ever expanding. Last year, it was this big. This year, it's this big. The following year, it's this big. Why? Because the industry is based on consumption. There are more people on this planet today than there was yesterday. And 10 years from now, there's going to be billions of more people than there are today. Do you think there's going to be more transportation related services that are needed 5 years from now or 5 years ago? Well, that's a dumb question because it's glaringly obvious. There's going to be more demand, and freight brokers who learn the process and continue to evolve and leverage technology are going to be in a great place to capitalize on that trend. So that's my last word. I hope it helps. I hope it makes sense. All right, hold on. Okay, so here's a question from Luquise. What's the length of the online course, and are the lessons in video and text format? All right, so the lessons, there are text and video components to the course. I tell everybody it typically takes the average person between 4 and 8 hours to complete the course, and most people do that over a 2 to 4 week period of time. The course it's go at your own pace. You can consume it at your own pace. There's no required, it doesn't take you 6 months, but you could take 6 months if you want. So you totally go at your own pace from your own computer, working from home. There's no travel needed. You don't need to worry about an instructor. You simply go in and work through the curriculum, go through the course material, go through the training videos. You have all the forms, you got all the contracts, you got all the tools and resources that I build in there. So it's a go at your own pace, but that's a good question. Thanks. Let me go back up to some of these other questions. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. I'm just looking through the questions. Give me a minute. London Lane, is there a factoring company that deals with non-DOT deliveries? I'm not sure I completely understand. Are you talking about like maybe household goods? Are you talking about like moving companies, things of that nature? I'm not really sure because I've never been in that business. But I just wanted to pull that up really quick because maybe you can clarify a little bit more. I'm not sure I'll have an answer for it, but that's my answer as of now. Eric, if you can clarify how import is a CRM at the beginning, please clarify what you're asking. How is import? I don't understand the question. Please clarify. Listen, guys, with these questions, you got to be very clear. Otherwise, I'm not going to select it. Don't take it wrong, but I got a lot of people asking questions and I have a limited amount of time. So here's a good question from Tiffany. When calling multiple shippers of different commodities other than you're used to, how do you know what type of equipment is needed? Two simple ways. One, do some research online because Google knows everything. That's a fact. Okay. Number two, worst case scenario, when you're talking to the shipper, ask them, what type of equipment do you typically use for this movement? Very simple, because many different types of freight can be run on different types of equipment. Not all freight is limited to one type of equipment. Perfect example. Let's say you have a dry van load of food that can go on a van, right? But it could also go on a refrigerated trailer. You just wouldn't turn the refrigerated unit on. A refrigerated unit without the a reefer without the refrigerated unit running is really just a van, pretty much. Okay. So a lot of times they can cross over. All right. So one, do your research, ask Google, try to find out a little bit more, do some research and due diligence on that niche or on that type of equipment. Okay. And you should be able to tell based upon how it's looked or shipped. Is it on pallets? Is it floor loaded? Things of that nature, okay? The second thing you want to do is ask your shipper. It's okay to ask that question. Ask them, hey, with this lane or with this specific product, what type of equipment do you typically use? That's simple, okay? So I don't want to oversimplify it, but it can really be that simple. Dana, I wish I could answer that question in a short live, but here's what I can tell you. Go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com. There's a free resource that you'll be able to download, 7 steps to becoming a freight broker. Those are the 7 basic steps that you're going to need in order to become a freight broker or freight agent. Go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com. There's a free download you'll get an opportunity to get. And at that point, download that, watch that. It's a video and an article. You can check it out and a download. And that will get you going in the right direction. Okay. I can't go through all the 7 steps here. Okay, here's a question from JT Tile. JT asks, is it normal to give customers discounts? Like, for example, profit from 19 loads and give discount on the 20th load. All right. So volume can justify discounts, but I never did it the way you described, 19 loads and give a discount on the 20th. Here's what I did in some situations. When you're just starting out, there's no volume discounts. You're just giving them the price because you don't have any volume yet. But over time, if they agree to give you X volume, then you may sharpen your pencil and give them a slightly cheaper rate in order to guarantee that volume. So you can get I used to do discount rates based on volume commitment. So if they agreed to give me 50 loads a month in a certain lane or just as a whole, what we would do is we may give them some sort of we would obviously tighten up our pricing. Typically, I didn't say we're going to give you a 1 or 2 or 3 or 4% discount. What I would do is I would say, listen, here's our rate. Our rate is $1,000 on this lane for just one-off spot market loads. But if you give me 50 of those loads in a month, whatever volume it is, I can do that load for $990, which would save them $10 a load, which is a lot. Okay. That's a lot. $10 a load. It may not even be that much, right? It may be 5, it may be 10, but ultimately what they're looking at is if they can save $5 on 50 loads, that's $250 a year. That's $3,000 a year they just saved in freight spend. So if they can save $3,000 a year on 20 lanes, what did they just do? They just saved $600,000 a year in freight spend. Do you see what I'm saying? So small incremental savings for volume make total sense to me. You could charge a little bit lesser rate to motivate them to give you more volume. So that's the way that I always leveraged it. And I think that's probably the best way to do it, in my opinion. Okay, so Natalie Ricketts asks, what insurance do I really need to start my freight broker business? To be honest with you, you don't need any insurance. You don't need contingent cargo. You don't need general liability. Neither one of those are required. Now, some people choose to get them, but they're not required. The only thing that's required that's kind of like insurance is your freight broker bond. It's not an insurance policy. It's a surety bond. So you will need a $75,000 surety bond. Now, it doesn't cost you $75,000. There's like a monthly annual premium, kind of like insurance, but it's really not insurance. Okay. So there is no insurance that is required as a freight broker. Some people choose to get general liability, because it's inexpensive, and some shippers will require it. Some brokers decide to get contingent cargo because it's inexpensive and because some shippers require it. But most shippers do not require contingent cargo. Most shippers do not require general liability, but those are optional coverages you can get. Okay? Hope that helps. I agree, Alan. This business is run by relationship. There's no way an app can replace a human. Yeah, they get freight. They get the cheap freight. That's right. They're going to get the bottom feeding cheap freight in most cases. And then the problem is they're not going to be able to service that freight properly. And they're even going to lose those customers, because if you get cheap freight, you have to get cheap trucks. And when you get cheap trucks, you get cheap service. Okay. That's the math. Okay, so Maria Hernandez asks, if I'm going to be a freight broker with a partner, can I still get contingent insurance and a bond just by myself, or does the partner have to be included in the process with regards to credit score? No, if you have a partner, the bonding company and then contingent cargo, you only need one person with good credit. So if you've got good credit or decent credit, right, they're going to base it on that. They're not going to base it on every person in the company. So they're not going to run every person's credit. Okay. So if you have a partner, you should not have to be able to give all of their credit. Just give yours and you should be fine. Okay. I mean, that's how we did it in my brokerage. I had all kinds of partners and shareholders and people in my business, and none of their credit ever applied. It was always mine. Okay. So I hope that helps. Hold on, I'm scrolling. We got lots of questions just popped in here. Toussaint Landy asks, when getting set up with a shipper, do we send them a W-9 for? Yeah, you're going to want to send them your W-9, which has your ad name, company name, address, and your employee identification number. Not your employer identification, your EIN number. So they will want that as a record, the same way as you are going to be requesting a W-9 from your carriers. Okay. So each vendor that you do business with, you should get a W-9. And whenever you're doing business with someone else, they're probably going to ask you for a W-9. So yes, that should be part of the shipper packet that you send to them, which is a completed W-9. Good question. Thanks. Yeah. So Dimitri asks, I have a bunch of loads, 48,000 pounds for good prices and $3 a mile. All carriers said is too heavy. What should I do? You know, it is heavy, right? So there's only a couple things you can do, right? The reason why 48,000 pounds is so heavy is because there's legal limits to how much freight that a carrier can haul, right? So there's legal limits there. What you're going to need to find is you're going to need to find trucks who don't have a sleeper berth. So if they don't have a sleeper cabin, a lot of the times the tractor is lighter and therefore they can haul a 48,000 pound load. Okay. But if they have a sleeper berth and they've got a sleeper built into the tractor, a lot of times that causes issues with extra weight and they can't haul a 48,000 pound load. Now, the second variable to a 48,000 pound load is that it's going to cost them a lot more to move that load because of fuel cost, right? The difference between moving a 40,000 pound load and a 48,000 pound load is significant, right? So you're talking about a 20% increase in weight, and that's going to increase their cost a lot. Now, it seems like you have a good rate, $3 a mile, but that also depends on how many miles. If you're saying it's $3 a mile and it's 150 miles, that's only $450. So if it's a short haul, you're probably going to have to beef up the rates a little bit because it's not worth it to haul a 48,000 pound load, 150 miles for $450. So those are some of the variables you're going to have to look at. But my suggestion would be try to find carriers who do, who just do day runs where the drivers are up and back same day and they're not going to need to sleep over. They don't have a sleeper berth in the tractor. Those are a couple of ideas. We used to do a lot of business with a bottled water company in the Northeast. They'll remain nameless, but they were infamous for having super heavy loads. And we had the same issue. All you can do is just know that some carriers aren't going to want to haul it because it's super heavy. Water and beverages are known to be that because, again, a gallon of water weighs 8 pounds. And when you're loading up a whole truck, it gets real heavy fast, right? And so some carriers will, some carriers won't, but the ones that have the day cabs, a lot of times are going to be more likely to do that. Hope that helps. So Nelson asks, can you work as a broker for a broker? Well, it wouldn't make any sense for you as a licensed broker to work under a licensed broker. That's what a freight agent is. So I would say no. A broker is not going to want you as a licensed broker, an authorized licensed broker, to work under them. But if you are acting as an agent, a freight agent, where you're operating under their brand, it's probably not an issue. Now, there is an exception to this. It's called co-brokering. Now, sometimes this is where brokers will work together in a cooperative manner to try to allow everybody to benefit, the shipper and both brokers. So, for example, let's say I had a customer who needed me to pick up freight in the port in Jacksonville, and I don't do a lot of port freight, say for example, but I know another broker who does a lot of business in and out of that port. We would do what's called a co-broker agreement, where we would agree to work together. I would be the originating broker and he would be the broker that's going to handle the carriers, but it's very transparent. It's not double brokering, which is unethical, right? It's co-brokering where we would work together and we would agree to certain rates, just like I would be brokering it to him. He would broker it to a carrier and the rates would be defined and the roles and responsibilities would be defined. So co-brokering is an example kind of like that. You're not really working under a broker, but you're working in cooperation with them. So you're either going to be an agent or you're going to work in a co-broker type relationship. So I hope that helps, Nelson. So JT, the bond rates are going to be determined by your credit predominantly. So what you're going to find is you're going to find anywhere 2% and up. The norm is kind of 2 to 5%. So if the bond price, you can get them as low as 1%, but I've seen bonds as low as $900 per year. And I've seen bonds that cost over $9,000 per year if you have really bad credit. So I say a $2,000 to $2,500 is not a bad bond. You'll see a lot in the range of $1,500 to $2,500. That's what I hear these days a lot from the students that are in Freight Broker Bootcamp. So yeah, I don't think that's a bad rate at all. I think you're right in the ballpark. Excuse me. I'm trying not to go into a sneezing fit here. Let me grab a quick drink. Yeah, there is no Nicole. Everything you talked about is completely correct, but there is no alcohol drug testing program for brokers. So you do need a BOC3, you do need your UCR, you do need a DOT number, but there is no drug and alcohol testing for freight brokers. Okay, that's something for drivers only. Carriers have got to have a drug and alcohol testing program as a part of their business in order to stay compliant, but that's on a carrier compliance, not a broker compliance. So brokers are not responsible for that. Yes, you should get your LLC or corporation first before you apply for your freight broker authority. Yes, you will need your LLC or corporation before you file for your freight broker authority. I'll do one better. Aries, go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com. I'm just going to tell you right here. I'm not going to send you an email. Freightbrokerbootcamp.com. That's where you can find all the information about the training. Okay. Save you some time. Both of us some time. I think, Ashley, do you think it's a good to work for another company before you start your own? I think on-the-job training is great. If you have an opportunity to do that and you have the time to do that and you're willing to work for somebody for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years to learn the ropes, I think that that's a great way to go. Most people are not going to wait that long. That's why they take an online training program to try to expedite that learning. See, when you work for somebody, you're going to learn pieces of the job, but you're not going to learn the whole job. Okay. So if you work as a dispatcher inside of a brokerage, then you're going to learn dispatching, which is great. If you work in sales, you're going to learn the sales component, but you're not going to learn the dispatching. If you're in, if you're in accounting, then, or if you're in sales, you're not going to learn the accounting side. So you're only going to learn a piece of the business at a time working inside of a brokerage, which is valuable. I'm never going to downplay on the job experience. It's great. But if you want to learn all those things fast or faster, you need to invest in some sort of training, which is going to teach you that. Okay. So you could do both. You could get an on the job and you could get the course or courses or mentor or coaching or whatever you decide to do. But ultimately, the on the job training is typically going to take a long time. And you may not learn all of those things anyways that you need in order to operate a successful freight brokerage or freight agency because you'd be limited to a specific department that you worked in. So I hope that helps. Okay, so Ashley, there's a second question from her. What's the difference between a freight broker and a freight agent? A freight broker has to have a freight broker authority. They have to have a license by the FMCSA. Don't get too scared. It's not that difficult. There's no exam. There's no certification. There's no special crazy requirements. There are some basic requirements, like you got to have a DOT number. You got to have a freight broker bond. You got to have a BOC3, some basic requirements, nothing that's that difficult, to be extremely honest with you. But you are a licensed freight broker. You have the authority to operate in the United States as a freight broker. That's what a freight broker is. A freight agent is someone who works under a broker and on a straight commission basis as an independent agent is able to get a commission on every load that they move based on the profit of that broker. So if an agent moved a load and it was $1,000 to the shipper and $800 to the carrier and there was $200 in profit, let's say they were on a 50% commission, the agent would make $100 on that load for finding the shipper and moving the load from A to Z. The broker would have the license, the broker would have the insurance, the broker would do the billing, do the collections, provide the technology, and do all that. So the broker is the roof that you operate under. It's the business. The agency is kind of a partnership type program where they don't need an authority. They don't need a license, but they operate under the broker license and they're able to make a 6-figure income without any of the operational business stuff that a broker has to do. So I know that was a little complex, but I wanted to give you a little bit more in-depth view of what it was all about. Oh yeah, Tanisha, my course, probably 5% of my course, 10% max of my course talks about getting your freight broker authority. The rest of it is all about setting up your business for success, including factoring, including invoicing, including collections, including acquiring customers, including dispatch, including marketing, including all these different other things that you need to know beyond just getting your authority. Your authority is super simple. You know that. You've already got it. It's not that hard, right? But that's included in the course because a lot of people don't have their authority yet. So yeah, that's 5 to 10% of what the course includes. The rest of it is everything else that you need beyond the authority. Okay. Those are the things that are much harder to achieve and learn. That's why the course exists. If it was just how to get your authority, step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the course wouldn't even exist. I wouldn't waste my time. It's not that hard. I'm scrolling. Let me just look for some more questions. Then we're going to wrap it up. Let's see. What time is it? Okay. So we got another minute or two. All right. Let me scroll. I think I answered most of these. Jeez. Okay. Please be clear on your questions, because when I read them and I don't understand it, it's not a good thing. Patrice, the training today was about why some people succeed in business while others fail. I talk a lot about the difference between desire and ambition and goals and execution. So go back and check out the replay. There'll be a replay here on Facebook, and you'll be able to replay it also on YouTube if you're on YouTube. All right, so here's the last question. What commission split would you recommend between a new broker and an experienced agent with a new book of business? A new broker and an experienced agent with a book of business. Well, listen, agents are typically going to get somewhere between 50 and 70%. If you're newer as an agent, you're going to start at probably 50%. If you have a small book of business, you're probably going to get 60%. If you've got a really big book of business, you might get 65 or 70%. That gives you a little bit of a framework. Again, some of it is based on their volume, some of it's based on their margin, but the fact is, they've got to really have that volume and margin. In order to qualify for a higher commission, they'd have to show you, they don't have to show you the names of the companies, but they'd have to show you some sort of proof that that's the actual volume that they're moving. Because what you have to understand is that the higher the commission you pay out, right? The more volume they do, the more work you're going to have to do. So your cost basis as a broker is going to go up. Now your profit goes up, but your profit percentage will go down. So let me give you an example. Just hypothetical. Let's say for easy math, they were doing 10% margins on their freight, which would be lousy in my opinion. That's not enough. Okay. You need at least 15 or more. So 10%. If they're getting 70% of that, that means they're getting 7% of the total gross profit, right? That leaves you 3%. Okay. But if they're doing a lot of volume, it's going to cost you more to move that because you're going to have more invoicing, you're going to have more collections, you're going to have more technology, you're going to have more insurance, you're going to have more costs as a broker. So my suggestion is don't focus exclusively on price when you're working with an agent or recruiting an agent. Focus on how you can help them grow their business. That's the value. Focus on discussing how you could help them go from having $1 million book to having a $2 million book. Because would they rather have 5% of $1 million book extra, or would they rather have lesser amount of a $2 million book? In most cases, the math, they're going to like a slightly lesser amount of a larger book. So if you can show them how you can make their job easier, and you can show them how you can help them increase their book or build their book or better retain their book, that will be more valuable than just a small commission, extra commission split. For smart brokers. For dumb brokers, they'll take it because they're short-sighted. Okay. So I hope that helps, guys. Listen, that's it for today. If you're curious about becoming a freight broker or freight agent, and you just stumbled into this feed, and maybe you're an owner operator or a truck driver or the spouse of an owner operator or truck driver, or maybe you work for a shipper or you're a dispatcher, or maybe you're just looking for a business opportunity in a way to make a good income like I was back in 2003. I didn't have any of that experience. Check out freightbrokerbootcamp.com. We offer the most cost-effective, comprehensive, online, go-at-your-own-pace freight broker, freight agent training program. Been in business over a decade, trained over 8,000 students. And we offer, like no one else in the industry, we offer a 60-day, 100% money-back guarantee. The only reason why we can do that is because people don't, because a very, very small percentage of people request a refund. We're okay with it. We're willing to put our money where our mouth is. If you're willing to do the same, then I think you'll have a great experience. Check out freightbrokerbootcamp.com. Appreciate you guys being here. Congrats to, I forgot whoever won the shirt today. Make sure you send me the message through Facebook. So have an awesome day. I will be back here at noon on Monday. If you are on YouTube, here, wait, one thing before you go, hold up. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to the freaking YouTube channel. What are you, nuts? Why aren't you subscribed to the YouTube channel? You'll get notified if you hit subscribe and then you hit that little bell that pops up. You'll get notified every time a new YouTube video comes out, whether it be a live or whether it be one of my edited down training versions. The YouTube channel is blowing up, but you guys need to get subscribed. Are you crazy? And again, appreciate you guys being here. Have an awesome day. We will see you next Monday at noon. Talk to you soon.